Hello everybody, Andrew Cybert here, and welcome back to another Redstone video. And today I'm going to be showing you how to build this coral farm that you see right behind me, a coral fan farm, excuse me. So if you're not aware of this mechanic, if you actually bone meal the ground or wall in an ocean biome just like this, you can see you get a bunch of seagrass, and that is not very good because seagrass is not very useful. However, if you bone meal the ground in a warm ocean biome, as you can see right it's hard to tell on the left side right there. If you bone meal the ground on that, you also get coral fans as a byproduct, as well as the seagrass. And the best part is, if you bone meal the wall, you can only get coral fans. As you can see, those are obviously the ground, but you only get coral fans. So that is the game mechanic that we are using in this farm right here. As you can see, these minecarts are actually sitting with signs in them to hold up the water. There's no block here, and the water is just sitting on the sign, so that the only place that the coral fans can generate are on the faces of these dispensers. And then we just stand right here, and then you grab your silk touch O, which I'll get to in a minute, and then you just mine all of it and it gets picked up like that. So this is what I'm showing you how to build, so stick around. And to be able to build this farm, these are all of the resources that you are going to need. Now, it's not the cheapest farms because there are a lot of hoppers. You need a total of 80 hoppers plus the 5 hopper minecarts, so equivalent to about 5.5 stacks of iron. And if you need an iron farm, I have one on my channel, a link in the iCard right there. However, if you just want to see, mine is an 8 module iron farm. If you just want a small single iron farm, there will be also a different one in the iCard that I recommend. But past that, you need 32 observers, 15 dispensers, and 15 droppers. Ignore that that's filled, you just need regular, obviously. 7 at least powered rails, it kind of depends on how you run your activation. 6 sticky pistons, 5 comparators, 1 lever, a handful of building blocks, and then 5 of them have to be solid blocks. You need more than 2 chests. You need 10 chests, 20 barrels, 7 signs. These barrels also can be like droppers or dispensers. They are used here just to reduce the amount of hoppers you have to use to make it a little bit cheaper, so you can replace that as you need. And then 7 signs, and then 5 hopper minecarts, like I said, 1 trapdoor, and you need 1 silk touch hoe. Now, it does not have to have unbreaking or anything because this will not take up any of the durability on it, so it can just be silk touch. And then you need some water and a lot of bone meal. And rates for this farm, as you can see right here, just look where my cursor is right here. This is the amount of coral fans per hour using just straight vanilla Minecraft, and I'll show you how to a fun trick to get that number, and then the distribution of each as they go. But that is the total number, and this number right here, the 68,000, uses Tweakaroo's fast left click, so you can actually get a lot faster while you use Tweakaroo, and then this is just normal vanilla. So those are the rates of this farm. This middle one here, ignore that. Quick warning for this farm, however, that it runs at that rates for a little while, but because of the bone meal distribution, how you see how there's 1 hopper going in, but it's running at a 2 times hopper speed clock, which means eventually this dispenser will actually run out of bone meal, and you'll be running at half efficiency. However, you'd have to run this farm for a long time for you to actually run into that problem, but it's something to know. So space you need to have clear to be able to build this farm. The actual farm itself fits in a 5x5x11, but because you need 1 extra block on the back here and then at least 1 here, you need at least 8 blocks in depth, 5 blocks wide, and 11 blocks tall, just like this. So have your area cleared, and you can build this any Y level, any location, as long as it's in a warm ocean, as you can see on the left side of my screen right there. Alright, so once you got all of your space good and cleared, you need to start off by creating a water channel, or a channel where the water is going to go. This is the output of the farm, and go ahead and block it off for the moment because we don't need to worry about that at the moment. And then you want to come over here and place 5 downwards facing droppers. So if you need help, just go ahead and place a block next to it and then place it facing down on the edge, just like this. So that is the output, like I just said. And then put comparators on one side. Either side is fine because it's kind of reversible. You can mine from either side. Mine is going to be on the left side. And then you want to put a sticky piston 1 block below. So this is going to create some observer clocks to unload these droppers when items go in. Observers on the sticky piston's head, and then observers up here just like this. So if any items were to go in here like that, they would get dropped out just like that. And then we want to place a hopper going into the top, and into the side, and then another hopper on, hopper facing downward like that, and then two more hoppers just like this. So downwards, across, down, down, across, just like this pattern, and then do that for all 5. Before we can actually continue with the stuff that has to go right here, we actually need to place the downwards facing dispensers that are going to go above where these minecarts are going to go, because you can't place them without nudging the minecarts afterwards. So place 2 temporary blocks just like this, and then 5 dispensers facing along just like this. And then you can go ahead and break those temporary blocks, and the exact same thing on this side. 5 temporary blocks, 5 dispensers, and then place temporary blocks on top, and then 5 downwards facing dispensers just like that. So that is what you need to do first, and now for the fun part. And that fun part is, of course, the hopper minecarts, because they're very temperamental. Now, the first thing you want to do is place 5 temporary blocks on top of these observers right here, just like that. And then go ahead and grab yourself some chests. You need 5 chests, and these are temporary, but you need to place 5 chests just like this. And then if you're east to west, this is going to make it easier than if north to south. North to south not impossible. It's not fully directional. It's just easier to do east to west because that's the way that rails like to go. But you need to place 5 sets of 2 rails just like this. The 2 just keeps it from connecting to each other and going one line this way. And then you need to place a hopper minecart in each of them. As you can see, it moves forward just slightly as I'm standing in the hitbox of the minecart, and you can see right there it is 1 pixel onto this hopper minecart. This hopper minecart is 1 pixel on this hopper, which means that it'll unload to both of these hoppers where it is, and it'll pick up from this block completely. So now you can go ahead and break all of these chests right here and place some glass blocks right here. We are going to 0-tick these blocks to be right here. And if you can place a glass block in this space right here, you did something wrong. You need to go back because this hitbox needs to be here, so you can't place blocks. And to 0-tick them, what you need to do is place sticky pistons or regular pistons, it doesn't matter, but you need 5 of them facing across on the glass block just like this. And then the easiest way to 0-tick these is just go ahead and grab a button and then just place it on the side, specifically the side, not the back, but go ahead and place it on the side just like that. And as you can see, the glass block is in and the hitbox is still perfectly fine. Now, to remove these rails, you are welcome to break these rails right here. However, these rails that are under the minecart, if you are facing east to west, you can remove them just normally. However, if you are facing north to west, what you need to do instead is grab some temporary blocks, place them here, place 5 sticky pistons just like this, and then place some sort of powering device. You need to power all of these at the exact same time, so just dust on top of them, dust next to them, repeaters point into them, but they have to be at the exact same time. And then if you just power those, and then it'll break all of those rails at the exact same time and keep all of the minecarts there. If you do not do these at the same time, the hopper minecarts will try to turn because they want to be east-west orientated, and they will nudge each other, and then your hitboxes are all sorts of whack. And the final step of the hopper minecart collection is placing signs on each and every one of these 5 glass blocks, just like this. And there's no tricks to this. It's just you just place it. There's no hard problems for that. For some reason, signs don't care about hitbox, so that is good. And now the hopper minecarts are done. And the next step is how we're going to actually be transferring the signal from the on-off switch and all the way around to each of the 3 dispensers. So the first thing is place a powered rails on top of these observers just like this, and then place observers pointing upwards, observing those rails, because this is going to be your on and off. So that these dispensers are then now going to fire directly into the dispensers, and then you want droppers pointing into the dispenser. So just like this, so that when this triggers, it's going to power this dispenser shooting out a bone meal, but also power this dropper to refill this dispenser, and that's how it's going to constantly refill itself. And then to power above that, we need an observer facing upwards just like this. That is going to be detecting when this dropper gets fired, and then that is going to be pointing into a solid block just like this. And then do that for all 5. Perfect. And then you want to place 2 hoppers into each of the dispensers in the middle, just like this. And then observing this top hopper, it is going to be observing when it gets locked, because this observer powers this block, locks the hopper, and this observer is going to pick it up. And then observers observing that observer, just like this, into droppers facing downwards once again, just like this. So again, this is going to hard power this this dropper, which will both fire this dispenser and this dispenser, and then also this dropper to help refill this dispenser. And to actually make what's going to be the on-off switch, start with a block right next to these hoppers and actually place a trapdoor. This is going to prevent you from being able to walk in and disrupt any of the minecarts. Place a block here and then place a sign on it. This actually has nothing to do with the off switch. This just has to do with where it's going to be located. And then kind of wherever you want, it can really be in a lot of different places where your on-off switch is going to be. You just kind of have to run it into this line. So place a solid block just like that, and then observer pointing into that solid block, and then observer 1 block away just like this with a sticky piston right there, and then just place a lever, if I can, like that, and then you can just activate it just like that. And like I said, you can kind of move your activation clock anywhere. It just has to be able to run into this line of powered rails. Also place a block with a sign on the back side of it as well. And for the most expensive part with all of the hoppers is the bone meal distribution. So come to either side, this part's going to be symmetrical, but place 5 hoppers into each of the dispenser on the bottom, and then 5 hoppers into the droppers on top, just like this. Place 5 barrels or any container. Barrels are just quite cheap, so I'm just using those. And then hoppers pointing into those barrels with more barrels on top of those hoppers, just like this. And then repeat it for the other side. And then once you have that, go ahead and place 2 hoppers going into the barrels on this side, just like this, and then 1 line of hoppers facing across, just like this. Then you want to go ahead and grab your bone meal chests and place them on these 2 hoppers right here, just like this. And then the bone meal is going to distribute this way, and then it has to fill all 3 of these up, and then go all the way over here to fill it. So you might have to give it a little bit of time to fill up, because as you can see, it's slowly filling up, but yeah, it has a long ways to go before it's completely filled. You can use it while it's filling and it'll still work, but it won't be as fast. And the last step to actually get this farm functional is you got to place some water buckets in here, and then you are actually all good to go. So if you grab yourself a silk touch hoe, just like this, and then come up against this trapdoor, flick the lever, and as you can see, now I'm in creative, so if I go into survival, I'm breaking coral fans quite nicely. Now, if you are using this farm in survival, vanilla, you're not using any mods or anything, and you want to actually be able to use this, as you can see, if I just flip this on and hold left click, I'm only breaking a couple at a time. I'm not getting all 5, as you can see. So the trick to this is look away, hold down your left click, and then turn around really quickly. And if you do it right, there we go. So you can look at the sign next to you, it'll work, and now you can see I am going through all 5 of the coral fans consistently, and that's going to give you the absolute best rates from this farm. So that is actually all for the actual farm itself, but this is just the farm. Obviously, the only collection here is a water stream, so you need to run that into some sort of storage system. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth, but I have a couple of different storage here. So this is a 1 wide tileable 2-speed shulker loader designed by, I don't remember, it'll be on the screen for you right now, but these are what I built on my server when I built this farm, and one of them is not enough. There is about every 3 or 4 stacks, you'll get overrun by about 10, so not a whole lot of overfilling, but there is enough that it would probably be worth doing 2 of each style, or 2 of each color if you have the room for it. And if you're going for normal sorter system like this, you can probably get away with 3, but you might get 1 or 2 that escapes every now and then. So 4 will be 100%, but 1, 2, and 3 will have leftovers. And you can also do a cycling water stream if you choose to do that too. However, be careful. If you do that and you overrun your storage system, you'll have just a bunch of entities going around in a circle, so be careful not to crash your world or server or whatever you're playing on. And yes, of course, there are other options you can do for storage system. You can do 4-speed shulker loaders, you can do 6-speed, 8-speed, you can do pretty much whatever you want. All you gotta do is run that water stream that's right above my head into any sort of collection system, storage system, however you choose to do it. These are just two examples that I'm showing here right now. But that is pretty much it for this video, so thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.